Skype user, a video user, whether it's a video conference user, and he's here. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for taking the trek over to Central Hall.
We were just storytelling about our last live stream together.
Oh, you were.
Our
Yes.
horror moment of our lives.
I said we're gonna go for number 2, right?
I said we're already live, so that shouldn't happen again.
Yep, and we have Jim Davis from DVS Direct using the TriCaster TC1.
Hey, Jim.
Jim won the award last night for
He did win the
bug
award.
tracker.
Absolutely. He's
He
the man.
did?
Congratulations.
He did. He won the award for the bug tracker.
Wow, I didn't hear anything about awards from last night.
There's Jim operating the cameras, having a lot of fun over there. And it's been a really smooth. The broadcast has been going great.
Good.
I have a quick clip from last night. It's about 60 seconds.
Oh dear.
We're talking about you.
I don't
Okay,
think we
this
reveal
could be
anything.
bad.
I don't think we reveal anything too
Oh.
crazy.
Just
no.
for a quick intro, if you don't know who he is, Dr. Andrew Cross of NewTek, who we have on here.
Jim, can we play the quick clip from last night? Yes.
Things with the NAB have been kind of just jump to it, get on it, make it work. So that's what we're doing.
That's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think we gave away anything too secret. I just took a couple.
I'm not
it was
worried.
some clips from. There's Matt getting an interview.
It's all good. It's all good. No matter what, it's all good.
Single person candle. And I think that's about it, right, Jim? So one of the most important things for today is the chat room, right? So we want to listen to what you guys have and what you want to ask Andrew here. I have some questions of my own, but I guess I'll start off with a few of my questions, but Tess is going to be keeping her eye on the chat room.
I'm with you guys. We've got
And
Dr. NDI here, don't worry.
You guys, the audience, that's why we do this, right?
Yep.
For you guys out there in the audience, so I know you guys have questions, but I wanted to just recap a little bit. It's the first day of the show. You guys announced a whole bunch of new stuff. What are you most excited about?
I'm excited about a lot of stuff. I am, and I think that, I mean, I can talk products, and we've done some cool stuff. I'm actually pretty excited. We announced this thing called Live Graphics, and to me it's exciting because I think that one of the, we've tried to make live production tools accessible to a lot of new people. And one of the biggest challenges is always to make, making, it's pretty easy to pull in cameras. People like you have made that very, very affordable and very easy to do. But making a show look good is also about the graphics elements that you can bring into the show. In fact, that's probably the single most important part, and that is still quite difficult. And so, what we try to do with live graphics is take, what typically you pay for it, you get in a, $50,000 graphic system and use, on air broadcast to make it accessible to people. So, to me that's exciting just because I think that's really bringing something new to the market, and it's solving a problem that exists in a way that people haven't thought about. We didn't design our own kind of custom solution. We made it work with Adobe CC so that you can use Photoshop and After Effects to animate stuff, which really, is the way it should have been done. And so, I'm excited about that. We're talking about virtualization, so you can go to Cisco and you can see, our big production switch is running completely virtualized. That's cool.
Wow.
We have our 4K NDI converter.
Well, hold on, wait. You're going too fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, you're going too fast. Hold on, wait. I wanted to
I heard a little bit of Spark news.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of
Oh,
news.
okay, so I never said that. What was I talking about again?
You went through three major things I want to break down real quick.
That our audience is going to be very excited about.
Let's talk about the Adobe thing.
Yep.
Okay? Because the graphics go running through Adobe the way it should be. That's got to be opening up a huge new world of creators, because that's where the creators live in the Adobe world, right?
Well, that's right, and our products are used both in low-end productions and super high-end productions, and what we hear is just that building graphics is really hard. It's really complicated, and you're going to buy products that, quite frankly, cost you $50,000 a channel, give or take. You need to have trained operators, which means you're paying even more, and this just means it's out of the reach of most people. And so, but everybody, I mean, my kids actually know Photoshop now. They learn it at school.
Yep.
I kid you not. My kids have Photoshop class at school now, and so
wow.
this is
It's a cool school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is cool school.
Well, that's what I was thinking about.
My kids are geeks too, so they go for this stuff.
like 'em.
They see a computer running Photoshop, they go straight for it. But
that's exactly what I was imagining in my mind, because when I was in college, I was in a like an art computer graphics class where they were teaching us Adobe After Effects, and I was thinking, wow, now that whole class of students can probably now interact with the video broadcasting students.
That's right.
And I was just thinking about these groups of students who already know this software.
That's right. It is more people know After Effects than any other graphic system in the world, and this is the way it should be done.
Yeah.
It's just obvious that the complicated proprietary solutions aren't going to be the right answer for everybody, and so we did that, and I hope that this is one step closer towards making it so that every major broadcast just looks like broadcast TV. So all the podcasters and game streamers out there, and we want to make their graphics look every bit as good as the biggest broadcasters, and that's important.
So you mentioned 3 things right away, and we have a lot to cover. I mean, the whole Skype thing we haven't even talked about. But
I forgot about that one.
The virtualization thing is pretty interesting, and that's got to be
What does
the
this mean,
future.
really?
Can you explain that for someone like?
I'll
Like
tell
Tess?
you.
I wasn't going to say that. Sorry.
No, but I'm the
No,
perfect
no.
example.
No,
Yeah,
no,
'cause
no,
it's a little
no. I mean,
complicated. Can you explain?
The thing is that we in the world that we come from actually probably take a lot of this stuff for granted. But I had this moment last at NAB where this big, and I probably shouldn't name them, but this very big broadcaster, one of the big national broadcasters, they set up an appointment with me, and they sat down and we talked about this huge facility they're building. I mean, double-digit millions being invested, and I mean, big thing. And we were talking about how the move to IP, and they wanted to understand some of the things, and we were talking about multi-viewers and some of the stuff, and then about halfway through the conversation, one of the engineers who was there were a bunch of them, really smart guys, said, no, stop. Andrew, you've got to understand, we're not building a TV station, we're building a data center now. And you see, so the way they're even thinking about what they're building out now is as data centers, not as TV stations. And so what they are very much looking to do, and what everybody is looking to do, is not run proprietary SDI equipment with all the kind of very market-specific things that we have here at NAB, but kind of sit on top of the broader market, which has got data centers, which you virtualize machines so that you want to fire up another instance to produce a different show, you fire it up. Obviously IP, which was why they're talking to us, and NDI, so that you can pull sources, you can fire up a new production room, you can then use it with VisRT graphics or a bunch of the other pieces. And so to them, the TV station of the future is a rack of machines with almost no proprietary hardware gear in there. And so that's really what virtualization is.
Does that include switching?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, NewTek are probably one of the only companies that make a software switcher that can run at the scale of a big TV station needs.
Yeah.
And so that the fact that we can take really what would be a traditional, let's say, Grass Valley huge switcher and turn it into a machine that you can run in a rack, and then you can move to another virtual machine, bring in all your source over IP. This is where the TV industry and the broadcast industry are going to go. And so that's what virtualization is, and I think that's going to matter to anybody doing the kind of medium to top end of broadcast, and so that's going to be an important thing.
Yeah, and to this younger generation that's sort of filling into this space, like myself, who's used to everything that's virtual.
Well, you are, absolutely. So I think a lot of your customers are all running software, and they totally get this and probably thought, well, that's the only way it could ever work. But it's not, and once you get into, and running a big broadcaster, there's also a lot of things around rights and so on, so, you need a lot of management processes, and it's more complicated to put into place, but that's absolutely where things are going. So they're really learning from the younger generation that's inspired by people like yourselves, and they're taking this and working out how to really take all of that and apply it at the big production level. And so what you're really seeing is kind of what happens when you take the kind of software, kind of what you guys have pioneered, and then take it right the way up to the broadcast level, and it's that's what's going to happen there.
Very interesting.
So I was at your speech last night, and I know some of it might have been private information, so I don't want to share everything.
No, none of it. Everything's public. It's all fine.
Well, I hope
that was kind of the moment, because when
really,
you share it with a bunch
absolutely.
of people,
No.
So everyone's allowed to talk.
We're giving you guys the inside scoop.
I know there's a new Spark that people are going to be interested in, and it kind of drives me to this thought that we were talking about virtualization, the medium to high end, which is, but also I noticed that the direction of NewTek is also to make it accessible for, we were talking about schools with the Adobe Cloud, and I think that the Spark product is a less than $1,000 product. Is starting to get into the do-it-yourselfers, smaller broadcasts, and can we talk about that market? Because now it seems like people are using NDI, and it's like they're starting from free. It's a tool pack or something, and they're learning and growing further.
Yes, I mean I think that, and this is actually really dear to NewTek's heart. I mean, we started as a small company. We started with small churches and schools because they couldn't afford traditional broadcast gear, and so we really get that that is probably we have a closer affinity to those users than anybody else, and our stuff is used in big broadcasts, but our heart is with the schools and the and the churches and the small events of every kind. I mean that's where we're really we feel at home, and I think that our mission has always been to help enable people like that, to help them produce bigger shows that look like they're every bit as big as broadcast.
It's really important that as you've grown, you still keep that mentality. And Chad mentioned this in the chat. He said, important fact about NewTek, even the CTO assists in support. I was very impressed to have his personal involvement in my small issue a few months ago.
Wow.
That's really crazy.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think you guys know that.
No, but I do know. I shouldn't be saying well. I do know that.
But what I'm saying is, I know that when you have problems, I mean, we care about them. I mean, I think that our products, and I find it hard to not say my products, because everybody at NewTek, these are my kid. I've spent more time working on these products than my kids have been alive.
Right.
And they're part of who we are, and we care about them. And when there is a problem, I mean, we really care. I swear, if I know a bug, I cannot sleep at night. I need to. No, but I mean, I can't. It's like finding out that your kid misbehaves at school. That's the thing. I mean, it's that personal.
How
to
could
us.
it?
No, it really is.
What did it feel like then when you made all of these free tools? Because at one point, it was a little expensive to get a TriCaster, and now you went to, here are free tools for the world. And I can't tell you how many small churches I've talked to who say, yeah, I use NDI. I'm like, really? Because it seems like you have a very small budget, you're a tiny little church, but they're using the scan converter to use desktop capture. And then they're starting to realize all of these things. What was it like when, I'm guessing, hundreds of thousands of people started to become your customer in a way?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is that and this was, I've got to say, it was a controversial decision for the company in some ways.
Yeah.
But I think that, ultimately, we all, we believe, NewTek really believe, and you actually showed the clip where I was saying that, really we believe that computers, networks, and software are the three components that are the future of the broadcast industry. And we needed there to be IP interconnectivity, and why keep this for us? In fact, the most controversial part, quite frankly, of releasing NDI is that it came from AirPlay, which came before it. It was, our own, AirSend. It was AirSend, which was our own protocol that we'd worked with Chiron and VizRT, and we probably had 10 or 20 companies that were supporting it, and it was entirely proprietary to TriCasters, and those you could bring the Chiron graphics into a TriCaster, but only the TriCaster, and so a lot of us say, well, this is part of our competitive advantage. And the decision to say, we're going to take all of that really hard work that we'd got with a whole bunch of companies to support just us and give it to everybody was controversial, but I never look back. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, this has made the industry better for everybody. If the interconnect should never be how, SDI cables, if Sony had come along and said, hey, we're going to keep these just for us, then SDI wouldn't be useful to anybody. And this is no different. The interconnect shouldn't be the way in which you gain proprietary advantage, and we shouldn't either. And so the fact that this helps people is great for us. We give away all the NDI tools, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine.
You talked a little bit about your heart being in with the do-it-yourselfers in the lower end. The other thing that I think is really interesting after watching your presentation is preparing for the new generations of broadcasters. And I feel like with the Adobe connections and some of the integrations you're doing, you're going to be involved as the interconnect. And you were talking about maybe like swipe controls and different things. It seems really like the future to me. But can we talk about, because I would imagine that children learning how to do broadcast, that's not a monetizable market necessarily, but it's definitely the future. Can we just talk about that a little bit? Because you seem to be thinking about putting in touch controls and things that kids are used to with Snapchat or different things. It's just an interesting thought, and I wanted to get your take on it.
So first of all, I should say that we want everybody to be doing video. If we, and this is probably like yourselves, I mean, you sell products as well, but I think that every one of us, I mean, we all believe that if we get more people involved in video, it's more people involved in video, and whether they end up looking at our products or not, it's still good. There's more people involved in video, and I think that we're all very passionate about what we do, and we believe that there's some purpose beyond just having products and making money, which is why we do it, and I feel that with PTZOptics. I think you're the same. And NewTek are very much that. And so if we can enable people to produce video, that's awesome. It doesn't get better than that. And let's just be sane a bit. I mean, at the end of the day, the more people using NDI, the more people involved in that market, just means that we're relevant to more people, and that's good.
It's a very smart move as well.
And so but it is not about that. It's not about, hey, we're secretly going to try to make money off you. It's not. We do believe that ultimately, if we make great products, people are going to move to those products, and if we make ourselves so we're more relevant to more people, hey, it's all for the best of everybody. And we'll see how that works out. But at least we know that we've done something that matters. So.
Right, and the passion that you have behind that shows through.
Well, hopefully.
It really does.
So obviously, you guys out there, if you have questions, we have Andrew Cross here, and we would love. There was an announcement about Lightwave, wasn't there?
Oh, I've not announced anything about Lightwave, and this should almost be a planted question, and I'm not going to make any announcement about Lightwave, but I will say this: we're working on the coolest stuff. My mind is blown with what we're working on with Lightwave.
Well,
it is the single, this is the first, so you guys have got an exclusive here, because I'm not told anybody about this. And I'm not going to say what we're working on, but I'm going to tell you that it is just mind-blowingly cool.
You're going to be excited.
No. This is so cool. Everybody who's seen it, we're like giddy about how cool this is. So that's all I'm going to say. So I'm not going to make an announcement, but I'm telling you, we're not sitting idly by and thinking. Here's what I will say about Lightwave. Lightwave is a product that is amazing in its own right. It created, some of the original visual effects on TV were created by Lightwave. It's got their legacy. Babylon 5. Amazing stuff. And it was, first, hypervoxels, things that volumetric rendering and stuff, they were in Lightwave before. There was nobody else doing stuff like that. Now, the thing that we've probably done over the last years is our customers have evolved, and a lot of them moved into higher end 3D, and we followed them there. And something I would say that we probably have lost is some of the edge that made us unique in the way that I think you guys know about us in the video world. And the things that date back to the beginning of Lightwave and its creation, which were what made it just an incredible product. And that is what we are absolutely going to bring back. And I promise you that what we're doing is going to surprise everybody and really get people excited.
Everybody's going to be
I probably
holding their breath.
I'm going to have a lot of emails for having said this, because I know that a lot of Lightwave users want to know what we're doing. But it's really cool, and it is game changing, and nobody will guess what it is. So that's
really?
all
That makes it even more interesting.
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Okay,
so,
I'm trying to read
the chat room goes before my questions, so if there's any good chat room questions, just
What's
let them
happening with JVC and the other big camera brands and NDI? Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Andrew. Still no HDMI cables over here, thanks to you.
Oh, gosh. I don't know who it was who said that, but that's awesome, and that's great.
Barnaby Campbell.
Well, hey, he shares our vision, so that's great.
So the question that I wanted to ask you about was the new Spark. So
Yes.
I think that, because I think that a
What
lot
are
of
the
our
specifics
viewers,
on that?
whether they're do-it-yourselfers or maybe dealers or people that are working on building studios, I think some of them have your existing Spark unit.
Yeah,
I know
of
a lot of
course.
people do.
Yeah.
And this is a newer, upgraded one.
Yeah, so they're conceptually quite different, and they've got the same name, but this is quite different. So this is, first of all, it's called Spark Connect Pro.
Okay.
Now, we launched the Spark units earlier this year, and our target with those was to make NDI functionality available to basically as a converter, but we wanted to get wireless support into it, because
Yes,
we just know full well that there is a huge market of people who need wireless, and so we really targeted wireless with that. Now what we've done with Spark Connect Pro, and so I'm sorry, I just stepping back there, so that we created NDI HX, which can run lower bandwidths. It's still really very good quality, but it runs low bandwidth to enable wireless connectivity. Spark Connect Pro, which is our new product, runs true NDI, so that's the full bandwidth NDI, so it can't run wireless, but so it must run wired. But it can do right the way up to basically 4K P60, which is the holy grail. And right now, 4K P60. I mean, it's actually kind of weird that we might even conceive of this in the IP world, because in the broader video world, getting full 4K P60, even some of the biggest switcher manufacturers over in the other hall can't yet bring in 4K P60 without eating up 4 inputs of their switchers. So that this is now going to be hopefully available to everybody over IP, which is cool. I mean, this is a cool product. This is a cool product.
I'm so glad we mentioned that, because I know that's something that people want to get their physical hands on.
Yeah.
Sometimes NDI is a software we're learning about it, but that product, the physical product. Now the other thing that I think this might have been the biggest thing is there better optimization and less CPU usage with NDI in the new version?
Yeah, I mean every version we do our best there, and we go to crazy lengths to do that. In fact, if you look at if you look at the NDI DLLs, you're going to notice that they're huge. They're like, I think, about 10 megabytes at the moment. And the reason that they're so big is actually because we have separate code paths in there for the video decompressor for every combination of CPUs. Well, we do that because we want to support basically the best path for any particular CPU. So really, the whole DLL is taken up by different versions of the decoders for different CPUs. Now, there's definitely some big optimizations there in the latest version, particularly for people who are working with RGB video, which is still a lot of people. Yeah. And there, and I've not actually given this number anywhere before, so I think this is probably a first as well, is the user, all video codecs internally run in YCBCR video, so they run in basically YUV of some description, and there are really good reasons for that. I mean, it does get you better quality at low bandwidth. I mean, the industry has done that for forever, and there's good reasons for that. But a lot of software applications run in RGB, and there used to be kind of about an 80% overhead of passing RGB to NDI because it needed to go into YCBCR and all the rest of it, and we've cut that down to just 20%, so basically RGB works almost the same as YCBCR. You're never going to be able to make them work equally, but we're down to the point where it's probably hard to improve this much.
Oh my
so that's
goodness.
good.
I feel like I'm speaking to Jimmy Neutron. How are you so smart?
No,
Where did you come from?
I just make this all up as they go along. but actually this is a good example because no TriCaster product does anything in RGB, so we did this purely, this is done only for our third parties. We will gain absolutely no benefit out of having done this work ourselves.
That's interesting you say that, and then also the Skype release, was mainly focused on the software partners that you have. The Skype, built-in Skype NDI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Release.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so this is probably, this is one of the, this is probably for the IP video world, this is maybe as big an announcement as there's ever going to be. Because, I mean, what Microsoft have done here is that they have integrated Skype into Skype Desktop, and, so this isn't just PC version, the PC and the Mac version will both support this, so in there, I think they're calling it Skype Creators Edition. Yeah. They're going to have full NDI output from that. And this is going to mean that anybody doing podcasting, anybody doing game streaming, the huge audience of people, of lower-end content creators now, can have people dialing into their shows, and it's just by default.
No more virtual audio cables,
right? Oh my gosh, yeah, we're hearing about
desktop captures.
This is really, really cool. And all of those things are great, but the one thing that's so big about Skype is that really everybody uses it.
Yes.
And if you want people to be able to call into your show, you just need something that your audience actually already use. And that's what is so amazing about this, because really everybody on every phone, it's on every phone, it's on everything. So really this means that anybody producing a small show can really have almost anybody in the world call in, and that's pretty big, and that's exciting. And it also means that just in terms of kind of user count who have NDI connectivity available to them, I mean, the number one spot is no longer available for IP standards, really. I mean, you got about 300 million users.
That's a big win. That's a huge
It is.
win.
I mean, you got about 300 million Skype users who will be able to do NDI now, and I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that. And this is exciting, and I know that Microsoft, we've been working with them on this for quite a long time.
Comment from Smashbox, Microsoft needs to be able to take NDI too.
Well, we're going to help them do that, and our NDI virtual imports allows you to get half the way there. And that we're giving away for free with the new NDI 3.5 when that's launched. But Microsoft understands that there is a huge world of podcasters out there who are now producing content in ways that they didn't before, and they want to enable this, and that's why they're working with us on this.
Question about a latest NDI release. Will there need to be new NDI firmware on NDI HX cameras with a new release of NDI?
No, there won't. We will be releasing new versions of the NDI HX drivers that will make them work much better with some cameras. But no, there should be no firmware.
All right.
Fingers crossed. So.
Always fingers crossed for that. All right, let's see here. Does anyone know if Skype creators will be free? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely free, yes.
It is?
It will be, it's on Skype.com. I mean, this will be available to anybody.
So everybody can use it?
That's correct, yes.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, for NDI and for video production in general, this is a very big deal.
Wow.
Well, I know you're really busy. I really appreciate the time. This is a very interesting conversation. Our last show, even though it crashed,
and we're going to go back to
I have to say, our last show totally crashed, so this is great redemption.
But it crashed in a great way, didn't it? We counted down to the crash.
It was oh my.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's great.
That should have been on film, because I've never seen you so upset.
No.
Blue screen of death.
It makes the show memorable. And we could have done a boring normal show, but now it's going to be one that's remembered.
You were a great sport.
But you're
so
so much fun to have on, because I feel like I learned so much. I feel like the audience learned so much, and I go back 6 months later and I'll be like, I remember when Andrew told me about that. Yep, I remember. I now have an answer for it. You talked about IGBMP snooping when no one knew what it was. That was a year ago.
Yep.
No one knew to turn on.
I'm still a little up in the air there.
Yeah.
I know you're busy, so I just want to thank you
my
for
pleasure.
being here.
We really appreciate it. I'm glad that things went much smoother this time.
No, it's good. And I've got to say, we love PTZOptics. We love your products. We love working with you. We love that you guys have got passion for this, just like we do. And you're a great partner. We really are. I'm happy to be on the show.
Yeah. We're lucky to have you, and so happy that we now have our NDI HX cameras, and we're so happy to be working with you guys.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
And you're such a real passionate guy too.
Hey, I can't help that
I see why this is working for you.
Oh, who knows?
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone.
PTZOptics from NAB Day 1. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Thank you so much, Andrew.